All right. So first off, thank you everybody for attending and welcome to coaching for the 2021 summer season. We appreciate everybody coming in. If you haven't met me, I'm Keith Turgeon. I am the league president of the league this year. I've been doing this is my fourth year running the league, and I've been with the league for about 14 years or so, coaching or in different volunteer capacities. So I'm the guy who's been annoying all of you with get your paperwork done, get your paperwork done, get your paperwork done. So when you see me and hit me on the side of the road, I get it. So let's get started. So what we really want to do tonight, we're going to go over a bunch of stuff about the program, how we run the program, some of the ways we handle things over here. I know we have a lot of people from different towns this summer. We have people from different people that haven't been with us before. And welcome to everybody. So let me get started. So I will be sending out this presentation to everybody. So you'll get a link to the PDF for all of this. So you don't have to worry about screenshotting or taking notes off the presentation. And I'll also be sending out the recording probably tomorrow once it uploads. The first slide here is these are our league contacts. If you need to get in touch with anybody for baseball, softball, or umpiring, safety, snack shack, or facilities, these are the people that are in charge of those different things. Please reach out to them. If you have any problems getting in touch with them, reach out to me. If you don't have my cell phone number in your phone, you should do that. It's on all the emails that I've sent out. So make sure you have that, because more often than not, I hear from every coach during a season. So make it easier on yourself and save it now. So the first thing I want to talk about is the philosophy that we have here. So some of this stuff is going to be a little bit different than how we normally do this. So normally we gear everything towards our spring season. Our spring season, we have a different mentality. It's more of our competitive, it's more of our full season. Summer is designed as more of an off season, funner, more fun season, I guess. But some of our philosophy is we do believe that practices are critical. In spring, we really push every team to have at least 2 practices. For summer, we don't require it. If you want to have practices, that's great. Feel free to have them as optional, and those who can attend will attend. I know a lot of players that are really excited about this baseball and softball. They will show up for whatever practices you possibly have. So if you can have them, great, but it is summer, enjoy summer as well. We recommend that coaches integrate fun competitive games into your practices, relay races, home run derbies, anything to keep the kids engaged, especially at the younger levels like T-ball or 8U. Do things that are fun for them. We want them to play baseball and softball, and we want them to get those experiences, but it's all about, this is a rec program. This is not competitive. This is about having fun. So do whatever you can to have fun with the kids. Some other things, we don't believe in yelling at kids for performance. So I don't want to hear of any coaches yelling at a kid because of how they performed on the field. It's just, we don't believe in it here, and it's not something we want to do. We don't believe players should get punished for performance. So don't call out kids because they missed a ball and make them run laps for it. You can do stuff like team-wide games, and the losing team does reasonable push-ups, or the losing team will have to run a lap, or those types of things. It is okay to yell and get loud for behavior issues. So yelling at a kid to knock it off, stop misbehaving, that is okay. And we're okay with coaches reasonably doing that with their players. Okay. It is, like I said, it's reasonably okay to bench a player if they're doing dangerous or disrespectful things. So things to keep that in mind. A good saying we have is 1% better. If it's a great motto to teach the kids, and if every time they get on the field, you say, hey, all we want you to do in this practice or this game is get 1% better, and that will compound, and it's a goal that they can try to achieve, and it does really well. It works with a lot of kids all the way up to the seniors level. So it's a great thing to do. Another one we have here is that we really want coaches to be teaching fundamentals and skills during practices and not games. So we really want, when they're having their games, to focus on having fun and playing the game. And you should emphasize that to your parents as well. This is different in the rookie and the T-ball levels, those are instructional levels, and those should be taught during the games. But once you get to minors and above, once the game's going on, you can remind kids, tell them how things should be done, but try not to, let them enjoy their games and have fun doing it. Our coaches really should be the model for our parents and players. So how you behave, the players are going to do the same thing. If you're being rude to the umpires or rude to the other team, they're going to follow suit. Be the model for those players. As far as participation trophies go, we give them to our T-ball and rookie divisions only. Anything beyond that, we don't do that. You have to actually win your tournaments or win your performance to get anything beyond that level. So we do believe that the younger kids should get something. It's, T-ball, it's rookie, they're instructional, it's not competitive. And the number one our goal of our program is for the kids to have fun. If the kid comes back the next season, the coach did a good job, and that's a success. We want all of our kids to come back every year. So if you can get them to, they enjoy enough that they want to come back, that's a win. This is the thing, we just started including this. So we really do have a zero tolerance policy for bullying. We had some problems this year, and we've had a couple of issues. So I want to make sure that people understand what will happen if this happens. So it doesn't matter if it's a game, a practice, at home, outside our events. It doesn't matter if it's on a cell phone. If it happens between our players, we're going to take action. If it's reported by a parent or a player and then it's verified, that player is going to serve us with 1 week suspension. If the coach witnesses it, it's a 1 week suspension without any other verification. And when they return from the weekly suspension, if there's a second occurrence, they will be suspended for the season. And once they return, if they come back the following season and they do it again, they will be expelled from the league. So we don't want to see this type of stuff happening. We want our kids to feel safe and have a good time, and again, have fun. So if you see things starting to escalate, poke, make sure that these things aren't happening. So something to keep in mind. Recommended playing time. This is really for our spring program. For summer, we recommend that basically everybody
join the meeting.
For summer, everybody should roughly have equal playing time. Summer is really about kids just getting more ball. It's not about wins and losses. It's going out and playing more baseball and softball. So, as you go down the different levels, in more of our competitive seasons, we try to, be a little bit, it gets more and more less equal as they get older. So, but for the off-season programs, we try to recommend keeping them as equal as you can. So our background checks. So this is all the stuff that you've all gone through. So the only thing that I want to emphasize here is that you cannot have any adult that's 18 plus step on the field during a game or practice unless they have gone through the background process. They don't have to go through the full process that you went through, but they have to at least fill out that application packet, which has the Massachusetts Query form attached to it. They need to fill that out, and I need to run it and get it back before they're allowed to step on the field. So just be cautious on that. I actually typically send it, tell all of my parents on my teams. I want every parent to fill it out, get them cleared. That way, in the event that they ever need to step on the field, we don't have to worry about it. They can come out, they can help, and whatever we need. So I recommend you talk to your coaches about, or your parents about doing that. All right, so uniforms. So you will get uniforms, hopefully, when I do the equipment handout, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. When you get the uniforms, before you hand them out, before you hand them out to a single player, check every uniform. Make sure you got everything that was assigned to you, all the right sizes, so that when you start handing out to your players, we don't get a call afterwards saying, well, we just handed them out and the kids took whatever sizes they want, and then the sizes that the parents paid for, that kid can't fit into it anymore because all the smalls are gone. Or make sure you give out what is on the list that we give you. So it's very important. If in the event that a jersey doesn't fit, and it's the size that the parent paid for, so we're going to need to order a brand new one. And there is going to be there may be a $25 fee to the parent to order that uniform, and it will likely take 3 to 5 weeks, if even possible, to get. So that's why, like, during registrations, we really stress to the parents, make sure you pick the right size. All right, gates and sheds. So at Craven Field, most of our baseball programs this summer, 8, 10, and 12 will be at Craven. For T-ball and softball, that will be at Spalding. So for Craven Field, the entrance gate can always be left open. And then whenever you leave Craven Field, all the field gates, including the batting cage, need to be closed. So the visitors gate, the home gate, the batting cage gate, it's really important you make sure you do that. Same thing at Spalding. When you don't do this, animals get on the field and leave all sorts of stuff on there that need to be cleaned up and other things, and people get on there and it causes all sorts of problems. So just please make sure you close the gates behind you. And then if you, for some reason, you need to get a vehicle onto Spalding Field, use the Eastman Street gate. Don't go through the school parking lot. Batting cage. So at Craven Field, we do have a batting cage that anybody can use. We ask that you only use it when there's not a existing practice or somebody else's practice or game going on. There is a power cord in the storage shed. When you're done, please return the power cord. I went through 3 of them this year in the spring season where people took them and never returned them. So some of them went to use the pitching machine and the power cords were gone. So every year I go through this one. So please make sure you return the power cords. And the other big part about the pitching machine is right now it has a cover on top of it. It's actually a grill cover. Make sure you put that cover back on it. That pitching machine stays out during bad weather and the rain, and it is an electrical device. If you don't cover it, it's going to get shorted out and it's going to get broken. So please make sure it's covered. And again, close the gate when you're finished. Snack Shack. So our Snack Shacks will be running at Craven for every single game, and they'll be running at Spalding for every softball game. Every parent will be assigned automatically by the league, except for T-ball. We don't assign T-ball parents into the Snack Shack, only once they hit 8U and above, or the 8U level and above. So we'll assign parents to work in the Snack Shack, and it's up to the coaches to make sure that those parents actually go in the Snack Shack and open it. So you don't have to do anything other than make sure they're in there. If they don't go in there, you need to find someone else to go in there and run the Snack Shack. Walk to the sideline, say, hey, I need 2 parents to go get it up and running. This is a responsibility that we need in the coaches. It's extremely important that those Snack Shacks are open. This is how we keep the fees for our league as low as they are right now. So it's really, really important that those Snack Shacks are up and running. Team equipment. So everyone is every team other than T-ball is going to get a bag that's got practice balls, baseball, softballs. It's going to be the duffel bag. You'll have catcher's gear. You'll have a medical kit. You'll have game balls. I'll hand you umpire money. Then you'll get the players' uniforms, players' hats. There won't be coaches' shirts for summer, but you will get hats. All the coaches will get hats for the summer. We don't provide players bats or helmets, so they need to provide their own. We haven't done that in a very long time, and mostly because most parents don't want their kids sharing helmets anymore. So at the very bottom here, I did put a link here which is just equipment.tapes.org. If you haven't hit this link, this is a great page that we put up that has a parent shopping list of every single thing that they could possibly need for playing the sport. All the stuff that's required, all of the stuff that's optional. So send them to that whenever you get a message from a parent, which we all do, says, hey, I don't know what to buy, just send them that link and that will get them everything that they need. A note for T-ball. The T-ball tees are going to be in the shed at Spalding, and you don't take the tees with you. Starting this summer, we're no longer going to have T-balls in the shed, every T-ball team is going to be given a small bucket, and you should take these buckets with you and return them at the end of the season. We gave out close to 70 T-balls for the spring and got back 20. So we don't know why they disappeared all throughout the season. We had teams that had like one ball by the end of the season because people kept taking them. So you're going to get your own bucket, which is probably going to have 20 balls in it. Those are your balls for the season. So when you're done with the season, return the bucket over to us. So if you get 20 balls and you have to return 17 and not 20, that's okay. You know, I just don't want to see a bucket that comes back with one ball. So reasonable losses is okay. All right, so for those that are going to get bags with equipment, specifically for the catcher's gear, any of the catcher's gear that you get, a lot of our gear is older. We have replaced a bunch of it. But if you get something that's broken or mismatched or doesn't work or doesn't fit your kids, let me know. Don't MacGyver the stuff. Don't try to fix things on your own. It's not worth. We have more gear. Let me know and I can get you more gear. So it's important that we don't just try to fix stuff. And if something's just junk and it's just too old, let me know. And if you do get one of the newer sets, like I buy about 8 new sets every year. If your bag has one of the new sets, that doesn't mean you should take the new set and give it to one of your players and then let them give back the league their old junk that they had. We've had this happen every year. So it isn't an exchange program for kids to get better gear that are dedicated catchers. So it is league gear. So please make sure that it comes back the gear that we actually assigned out. If you need more practice balls, just let us know. We get them. Game balls, these are about $4 to $6 a piece. So you're going to get enough for 2 balls per game. So if you lose them, they get fouled off, go get the foul balls. Send them. The kids love to run in the woods and pick the balls up. So send them off there to do that. And if you have multiple catchers in the team, just let me know. Like I said, we have multiple sets of gears. I can give you 3-4 sets of catcher's gear. It's not a problem. And then at the end of the season, all the equipment needs to come back. And do the best you can with that. And if you're returning a team equipment bag, please clean it out. Every bag that I get back has got an entire season's worth of McDonald's and trash and garbage and everything else in these things. I'm not your parent. Please don't make me clean up after you, because I'm the one who has to clean out all these disgusting bags. So please take 5 minutes and clean them out before you hand them back to me. Just like you, I'm a volunteer too, and help me help everybody, please. So shared equipment, in both of our sheds at Spalding and Craven, we have all sorts of different things you could possibly need. We've got cones, we got tees, we got Incrediballs, tape measures, wiffle balls, pop-up nets. We got all these things in the sheds. Feel free to use any of it for any of your practices and just return it when you're done. Some things might not be in the Craven shack. They might be in the Spalding shack or shed and vice versa. So if you can't find something, it might be over there. And the other thing is, if you need something, if you say, hey, I saw this really cool thing online and it's this great training thing I'd love to use with my kids, send me a link, I'll buy it. We budget to buy cool new things to give the kids. So let us know what you want. Anything you want, unless you come up and say it's thousands of dollars, would be a different story. But most training aids are under $100. We'll be happy to buy them. So feel free to let me know anything that you think would be helpful for your team. Game Changer is required for all teams that play games. So basically for summer, everybody but T-ball. So this is all 3 softball teams, 8U, 10U, and 12U baseball. Everybody should be running Game Changer. This is a free app, and it basically lets you store all of your stats in the game, and everything is there. It's free. You don't have to worry about it, but you do need to spend some time up front and learn how to use it. It's not hard. I've been doing it for a very long time. It's a great app. It's on Android, it's on iOS, so you can get it, no problem. And when you go to pick it, so they have a new version of Game Changer called Team Manager. Try to avoid Team Manager and use the legacy Game Changer. they're eventually going to merge the two into one, but for the time being, use Team Manager. And when you set it up your team, send me a link. I follow all of our teams, and it's cool because I can actually see every team, how they're doing, what kids are hitting, and who's having fun. And we post all that stuff on our Facebook page, and we try to get the kids to, have all this excitement about, posting their stats or their pictures and stuff online. So send it over to us. We'll get it up and give the kids some excitement about that. So practicing game day responsibilities. So as a coach, what do you need to do when you get to a field? What is your responsibility that day? So one, you have to make sure the snack shack is open and staffed. And before the game, you need to make sure the field's in good, safe playing conditions. So if it was wet, there's bags of play safe or quick dry in the storage shed. I'm gonna be very careful on this one. So don't use more than a single bag for an individual game. These aren't sandbags, and these are $14 a piece. So we had a couple of games this spring where somebody went out and used like 15 bags for one game, and the whole infield looked red. It cost us like $600 for that game, which is crazy. So one bag can be spread out at Craven. There's 3 piles of clay and dirt on the side. Feel free to grab the wheelbarrow, grab a shovel, and use that to fill in some of the puddles. There's also big sponges inside the sheds. You can use those to soak up any of the water that's on the field. They do a really, really good job. For rookies level and up, baselines and batter's boxes should be lined prior to all the games. T-ball doesn't need to do this, but we do recommend you do it for like your season opener and season closer. The kids get to walk on the field, see the line, see their batter's box. It's exciting for them. Some of our T-ball coaches will do it every game. You don't have to. If you want to, feel free. But at least for the beginning of the season and the end of the season, you should try to do that. Give them that experience. It'll be fun for them. At the conclusion of the game, all the base paths, home plate area, pitcher's mound, and the infield dirt must be dragged and raked. And we need to make sure all the trash is cleaned out of the dugouts and put into the dumpsters. This is extremely important. And the reason we say it's extremely important is because if this isn't done, this is when the grass starts growing on the infields. And when the grass is growing on the infields, like right now, because of how it was done during the spring, some of our fields are in not great shape right now. So, and when you use the drag, make sure you actually go from grass line to grass line. Don't skip over 3 or 4 feet at the ends and say, it's close enough. Because then what happens is at the end, that's 3 feet where there's grass that starts growing. So try to make sure you get it edge to edge. And for that work, get the parents to step on the field and help. So I'm notorious for at the end of a game, I will walk up to the bleachers and start yelling at parents to get on the field and start helping. So I hate seeing coaches have to do this work. You guys spend all of your time working with the kids. Try to get the parents to get on the field and help you with the cleanup. So I tell all the parents this, but it's very easy for parents to grab their kids and run. So try to get them if you can. Sometimes if the kids are older, have them do the work. That's also an effective way to do it as well. And do keep an eye out on those field conditions. If you start seeing grass and weeds growing, you can, inside the shed, what you see here on the right here, this is called a hula hoe. You can just use that and that will pull the grass right out in 2 seconds. So if you spend a couple minutes each game, it will save a lot of time at the end. If you are the home team coach, you're responsible to pay the umpire for the game. We will give you all the cash you need for those games, so you won't have to worry about that. But you will need to hold on to it and make sure you pay the umpires at the beginning of the game. And you also have to provide the umpire the game balls for the game. And again, don't use more than 2 a game. If it is a wet weather game, make sure you have one of the coach with a towel to dry the balls off throughout the game so that the kids aren't throwing heavy wet balls. We don't want anybody to get hurt. Another reinforcing the field cleanup that we just went through. So I'm not going to go through this again. Pitcher and catcher safety standards. So for the different levels this summer, there's different restrictions on how often kids can pitch. So for 8U, they can only pitch 2 innings a game. 10U, they can only pitch 3 innings. 12U, they can pitch 4. I'm not sure what the 16U rules are for softball, but at least for the other levels, that's what the restrictions are. I do want everyone to be aware of what's called pitch counts. While these innings restrictions aren't too bad, it's always a good idea to start keeping an idea of how many pitches your kids are throwing. I mean, everyone's heard about kids getting hurt with their arms and overuse and stuff like that. Watching out for how many pitches they're doing, keep track of these things. Game Changer is fantastic for this because it keeps track of how many pitches the kids are doing. So you can see, okay, well, you know what? If you get a 12-year-old and he could do 4 innings, he shouldn't pitch more than 85 pitches. A 12-year-old, especially if they're not a great pitcher, will easily hit 85 pitches in 4 innings if you try to push them. And they should never go any further than that. You're going to hurt them. So be cautious on how many pitches you're getting to throw. And again, Game Changer does a really good job with this because it actually will pop up warnings if you hit any of these thresholds. So things to keep in mind, what we recommend. Want to put this on so people know what goes on with the fields as far as maintenance goes on our end. So Craven Field is mowed every week by our vendor. So we pay for and provide and have a company come in, pay to treat Craven Field. And we also have them come in, do mosquitoes and ticks. We control that property. We are able to do anything we want on it. So we're able to do that. Allen Field is owned by the town of Ashby, and they handle all the mowing. And anything else that would have to go through the Ashby Parks Department. It's Spalding Field. So the baseball field, while we don't have any real control over it, we had to make a deal with the school where we will at least mow that field. So that field is taken care of every week by our vendor. This was not the case. So if you coached in spring, this was not the case. We got this negotiated by the end of the spring. So early in this past spring, Spalding was in bad shape. Now, unfortunately, on the softball field and the t-ball fields, those are complete up to the school district, and they don't let us use our vendors on those fields because those are attached to the school directly. They're supposed to do it every week, but anybody who's ever played on those fields knows that the school doesn't do that. I've tried, I've gone back and forth. I'm working on trying to get contracts in place to lock them into doing that work, but it's not, just be cautious of it. I know myself, I've had to actually bring a push mower some games at some of those fields and do it myself. I think right now we have 2 mowers, one at Spalding, one at Craven. I think the one at Spalding doesn't have a mow deck on it, but the one at Craven does, and we don't need the one at Craven. So I think I'm going to switch the 2 machines. So at least there's a ride-on mower at Spalding with a mowing deck that can be used. If you need to spend 10 minutes and clear your field off, I hate asking that of coaches, but sometimes the school just doesn't do what they're supposed to do, and we end up in a situation. Just something to keep an eye on, and make sure the parents understand that as well. Like we got a lot of complaints this year from parents saying that, we're not doing the thing where kids are getting ticks on them. And only thing we can do is call and yell at the school and say, come on, do what you're supposed to do. So, so kind of head that off a little bit if you can. And then we do have toilets at both fields. These are portable toilets. They're maintained by Aeroseptic. So we don't maintain them. We don't anything to do with them. We pay for them, but that's about it. So if they're missing toilet paper cleaner, they need to be emptied, feel free to just call the number on it and they'll come take care of it. You can message me and I'll do the same thing and pick up the phone and call them as well. But that's all we can really do. At Ashby, there's no portable thing, but there's actually a bathhouse. So, and the Ashby Parks Department takes care of that. So as far as field availability goes, so really it's basically Craven Field, Spalding, baseball, softball, and the 2 t-ball fields, and you can use Allen Field for practices. The old Ashby Elementary, Hawthorne Brook, and the 2 North Middlesex fields are completely off limits. So we're not allowed to use them. The school basically said that if we try to use any of those fields, they're going to charge us for it. So don't schedule anything. Don't try to go have games or practices or anything at any of those locations. All right, scheduling events. So I sent an email out with an attachment of how you can schedule stuff on the Taves website. T-ball, you don't need to worry about scheduling anything. It's all done for you. You actually should have got your game schedule posted on the site today. For 8, 10, and 12U baseball, there is no master site, so Taves will be the site that handles all of your scheduling. So if you need to make any changes, update it on the Taves site, but you need to do it in coordination with the other team's coach. So if you need to reschedule a game, bad weather, any of those types of things, work it with the other coach, update the Taves website. For softball, this is actually probably not accurate for the summer because I believe we're not using NCMS for summer. So for softball, there'll be more details coming. But regardless of what we end up with for softball, you will need to update the Taves site as well. So make sure you do that, because only by updating the Taves site does that notify all the parents. So as I mentioned earlier, practices are optional. T-ball doesn't have practices scheduled outside of their regular one. Games have priority over practices. So if there's a game that needs to be made up and you have a practice on Craven Field or one of the other fields that need it, we'll bump your practice in order to get the game out. So, and the higher level divisions have priority over the lower level divisions. The lower level divisions could get bumped back to the Spalding Field or to a different night if needed. And the only reason for that is Craven is a bigger field than the Spalding Field. And there are multiple teams this season that need to practice. So just be respectful of others. Don't go out there and say, yep, I'm going to book every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday for practices from now until the end of the season, and then basically lock up the field so that no one else can get them. So book a week or two out and go with that. That's good there. So weather and lightning. So a good rule of thumb, no game should ever be canceled more than 2 hours in advance. It doesn't matter if it's 8U, 10U, 12U, nothing before more than 2 hours in advance. So for rookie division 8U and above, games should be played in light to moderate rain, and we only should cancel games if the field is unsafe. Our fields actually do a pretty good job holding in water, so please try to make sure that the games are played. It's hard to do reschedules. We end up having to cancel more stuff that the kids never get to play if you have to do reschedules. So, and use the quick dry that I talked about earlier. Again, just keep in mind it's not sand, so don't use it as sand. And then if there is a visible strike of lightning, you need to stop the game or practice immediately, and everyone needs to take shelter in their vehicles. The game can resume when 15 minutes have passed since the last visible lightning strike. So for T-ball, it would get canceled and you'd be done and send them home. For all the other ones, have them sit there and wait for the lightning to pass. So on that note of game cancellations, so as I mentioned, no more than 2 hours beforehand. So try to make that call. Try to make that call about 2 hours in advance. Sometimes you can push it if you think it's going to be a judgment call at the field. Keep in mind that umpires do have the final say. So if you think that the field's playable and the umpire gets there and goes, no, you're crazy, he's still going to charge us for that entire night. So just try to get the games in, but make sure it's safe to play on. And if there looks like bad weather, start talking to the opposite coach as early in the day as you can, so you guys can start coordinating if you're going to keep the game or cancel the game. And then when you do cancel a game, you need to go online to the Taves website and cancel the game. That will send a notification and a text and email out to all the parents, letting them know the cancellation. You must contact our umpire coordinator, Jason Batiste, by a text message if you're going to cancel. That way he can cancel the umpires. If you don't do that and the umpire goes to the field, we get charged for the full price of the game. So try to make sure you don't forget to cancel the umpire if you have to cancel your game. Bad weather. The other note, do not delete events on any of the websites. So sometimes people have a thing where, oh, I'm going to cancel this practice, I'm not going to have it, and they delete it from the site. That actually causes more problems than anything. So instead of deleting it, go in and just change it to canceled. That will free it up and it'll show up in the thing. And then all the stuff that I just said is not relevant at all to T-ball. So T-ball games, from the league, we make the judgment call for you. So you don't have to worry about, is there going to be a T-ball game tonight? 2 games before. So at 4 o'clock, you'll get a text message or an email from me saying T-ball is canceled for tonight or T-ball is on. If you get to the field and all of a sudden the weather starts looking gross, throw your hands up, say, sorry, we made a bad call, send the kids home. But for the most part, we're pretty easily cancel those games if it looks like it's going to be a crappy day for the kids. Especially with T-ball, we want them to have fun. So if it's not great weather, it doesn't usually go that way. So there is some coach training and certifications. So there's a site called Dugout Captain. It's free. When you get this, there's a link to it. It has some really, really great training. It's got tons of drills and you can put in, say, hey, I run an 8U team and I want to show all the basic drills, advanced drills, and it'll just have videos of them all. And you can build your whole plan around what's on this site. It does a really, really great job. The USA Baseball site where you all went and got certified, they have higher level B and C coaching certifications. Those are also free. And I can tell you, I've taken the B and the C and they're much better than the boring stuff that they taught you in A. So if you're looking for some better training, that's a good one as well. And then Babe Ruth also does offer training. They charge you for it. And we don't usually recommend it unless you're going to be in coaching in one of the tournaments. So for summer, I wouldn't even waste your time. So what do we recommend right now? We recommend you go on the Tabes website, send out a welcome email to all your parents, say, hi, I'm the coach for this summer, and let them know what your goals are for the summer and what your plans are. What your practice schedule might be, when the games, let them know anything you can to give them kind of that welcome feeling about the program. We recommend you have an introductory parents and team meeting to review your plan and goals. So you can do it at the field, you can do it in a Zoom meeting, you don't have to do it. You can do it on day one, whatever works. I found that coaching my teams, it was always good at the very beginning of the season to get all the parents on the same page. So go download Game Changer now, start playing with it and learning how to use it. We recommend you do stuff like take your team out for ice cream, plan an end of season party, do things together outside of the field, let them build up some, team camaraderie and, take them to a movie, take them to pizza or go to a minor league game, things like that. I've done a lot of these things with my teams over the years, and it really helps the kids bond, and they play better when they become friends. So if you can do these things, great. We definitely recommend you do any of that. This is for the T-ball parents. So I put this one page here so you can kind of get a general idea of how T-ball should kind of go. So you wanted to set some goals for the kids for that year. And really, it can be as simple as bat safety, teaching them to hold the bat from the barrel when they're moving, which direction to run, first, second, third. And then if they can identify the bases and positions, if you can get all 3 of those done by the end of T-ball, that's a good season. It sounds so simple, but if you can teach them those 3 things and they have fun doing it, it's a win. So don't worry, you're not teaching them how to, pitch and do all these crazy moves and none of it. Just basic things, let them have fun. So what the schedule looks like for every T-ball night. So you usually as a coach, you want to get there about 5-10 minutes early. That gives you the option to get your tees out, get your field set up so that you can get started right at 6 o'clock. So from 6 to 6:30, that's usually the instructional part. teach the kids, let them start throwing the ball around, do some basic catching, whatever drills you decide you want to do. At about 6:30, then you're going to go switch over to getting ready for the game. About 6:35, start the game, and run that till about 7:15, and then at that point it's cleanup. So the game is simple. Every player bats, and then you switch sides. It's unlimited innings until 7:15. And you try to keep the number of bats for both teams even. Okay, and again, T-ball, have fun. Use some of the instructional time some weeks to just play games with the kids. I've had coaches bring frisbees. I've had coaches bring, water guns, biodegradable water balloons fights, and have freeze pops, snacks, things like that. Let the kids have fun. It doesn't have to be T-ball, baseball, softball every game. Do different things. I'll tell you, it was a year and a half ago. I had my kids, or actually it was last summer, or it was the summer before. I had my seniors level players, and I got a big tarp. We went to Craven Field. I got soap and the hose, and they were using it as a giant slip and slide. That was our practice for that night. It's have fun with them. Let them enjoy being kids, and don't take it so seriously. And it'll be a lot of fun. A little bit of safety. I'm not doing all the safety stuff that we did in the spring. So this is the one safety slide, just so you're aware of what we have. You're going to get a med kit in your equipment bag, and it's going to be preloaded with ice packs and Band-Aids. That's all that's going to be in the med kit. Each snack shack has additional ice packs that you can use to refill the med kits. And then each snack shack has these fully loaded med kits in there as well. And they've got all sorts of other things in them. Leave them at the field, use them if you need to. Hopefully they're never used, but they are available. All of our fields have AED devices now. So we got our last one this year. So if there's ever an emergency, you can run to the snack shack, open it up, grab the AED. You can call 911, they'll step you through it, or you can turn it on and hit the power button, and it will step you through exactly what to do. They're super simple devices. So these are we have 3 different ones at all 3 different fields. They're available. And then we do have fire extinguisher, all the snack shacks as well, if there's ever any issues to go with that. If you have any questions on safety, the medical devices, the kits, Jessica Fellows, she is our safety officer. She's in charge of anything to do medical or safety. If any kids ever get hurt, she's the person to get in touch with. She's the person that files the incident reports. Jess is an EMT. She is also the 911 dispatcher for this whole area. So if you've ever had to call 911, chances are you probably talked to her on the other end of that phone. So she's a local, she's a great person, and she's a great resource if you have any questions regarding safety. So I'm just gonna go through some league updates so you have a general idea on how the league itself is doing. So this is our current board of directors. We're all here, we're all volunteers. Now, if anyone's ever interested in joining, please reach out. We're always looking for more people to help. So reach out to any one of us if you need anything. So just to kind of give you a general idea of where the league has been. So these are how our registrations have looked over the past 5 or 6, or actually 7, 8 years now. I've been doing this for a while. You can see for baseball, we actually had 178 kids this spring, and which is up from every year since 2013, which was our last big year. So baseball is doing really, really well. Softball, we're rebuilding our program. So we've got really good teams at our rookies and minors level. Unfortunately, we didn't have a majors or seniors this year, which is why our numbers are a little bit lower. But softball's starting to really get a good foothold here, and it shows in our summer program. So we have 39 girls signed up for summer softball this year, which is fantastic. Dennis and John are doing a great job getting that program back on its feet. We were worried that it might actually die off, but I think these guys are really doing a great job getting that program moving forward. This summer we've got 69 kids on the baseball side, so that's doing well as well. So numbers are looking great. So I'm not going to go through all the details here, but this is basically what we have for finances. These are all the things that we spend. So to give a general idea, each year we spend about almost $54,000 in expenses. And the player registrations, what we actually charge people is only about 36 grand. That means before we throw out the very first pitch of the year, we're already almost $18,000 in debt. So how do we solve that? Fundraising, sponsors, all these other things. So when we start asking for fundraising and we do all these different things, this is why, because we got to make up that 18 grand. And we could do it two ways. We can either do it with the fundraising and the sponsors. And right now, our average fee to our parents is $99, and our cost per player is $267. So we can either do it with the fundraising and the snack shack and all these things that we're doing today, and keep it at 99, or we'd have to jump our prices way up. So that when parents are saying, I don't really want to go in the snack shack, well, this is why. So we're keeping your costs from tripling by you going in the snack shack. So it's a good way to poke at them. So this year we're doing absolutely amazing on our fundraising. So we've raised $55,000 this year between our fundraising, our sponsors. It was like our hit-a-thon alone, almost 18 grand. Phenomenal, great year that our families did in this spring. So this year we're actually going to end with about $37,000 in the bank. What that means is that we take out about 10 grand to cover annual overlap, and that other $27,000 will go into improvements in the program next year, big capital improvements. What do I mean by that? This is what we did this year alone. So this year we did $31,000 in improvements. So we put a bunch of new things, new dugouts, new infield repair, the AED device. We put permanent foul lines at Craven Field. We replaced the entire fence cap. We've got a brand new scoreboard going into Craven Field that we just ordered. So beautiful new scoreboard will be going in. We put an AED at Spalding. So a lot of projects that we're able to do, and really every single cent that gets raised, we put back into our programs. So it's a big win for all of us. These are all of our sponsors. As you see, there's tons of them. We spend a lot of effort trying to get sponsors. So if you're looking for vendors, grab somebody on this list and tell them you got their name from us. Will help us next year when we're looking for more sponsors. So I put this up each time because I want to. So what we do is on all of our snack shacks, if there's any uniformed military, public safety personnel that attend a game, they get a free meal on us. Hot dog, chips, drink. If you're for all of the things, we support them all. And that's just our little way of giving back to anybody that comes to one of our fields, to our games in uniform. So we'd like to do it to anybody else that we know that doesn't wear the uniform, but without going crazy, we basically said anybody that's uniformed that comes in, a police officer shows up, they get a free meal on us. So we've got tons of gear. If you go on our website, you can hit the league gear. You can get all the TA branded stuff. Feel free to go out, look at what's available. We don't get kickbacks on any of these things. So this is just about branding for yourself. So we decided not to increase the prices, and just that way it's more about people getting some of the stuff they want to see. And we're on all sorts of social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Feel free to follow us. We're going to post pictures of the games, the kids, all the stuff going on. It's exciting. The kids get to go see all these things when we post pictures of things that are going on, and they love it. That's it. That's all I got for the night. So I'm going to open it up to questions. Anybody that has any questions, I'm here. I can stick around as long as you want to answer any questions you might have. But thank you for listening to my spiel for the last hour. I know it's not fun to do that, but I hope you got some information that's helpful. But that said, questions. What can I help answer?
I have a question. It might be kind of a silly one.
Go ahead.
I'm listed as a manager for T-ball. Do I need to do anything special or just fulfill regular coach duties.
So really, the only difference between a coach and a manager is they both are coaches. The manager is the one who has to send out emails. So you're the one who would have to pick up the equipment. So when I say the equipment pickup is going to be on Tuesday or whatever date it's going to be, you're the one who's going to come pick it up. Doesn't mean you can't ask your other coach to say, hey, I can't make it. Can you go make it? Go pick up the stuff. That's all there really is a difference for the manager versus the coach. It's basically the head coach. But it's especially for T-ball, it's it's the one who sets the plan.
Roger that. Thank you.
I am also the other manager for T-ball. I just had a quick question.
Shoot.
I thought I was just gonna have to be like the equipment manager or something. I didn't realize that was the head coach.
Yeah.
So like I briefly looked at the equipment list, but for like T-ball, like I need to go out and buy like all this like extensive gear for him, or
Oh, for the equipment list for the players?
yeah, like what they need. Like, do I need to go get him like a helmet and all this stuff for T-ball?
Yeah, they need to have helmets, they need to have a bat, glove, and then pants. I think those are the extent of the purchase list.
Okay. I just want to make sure before I go buy it all.
Yeah, you definitely want to have it. There's especially stuff like, there's two other parts that, while we list as required, which is a cup and cleats. So while you can get away with T-ball not necessarily wearing those things, it's really kind of important for the kids to start wearing those. Cleats can be more useful than you think. So if you're, and honestly for that stuff, go to somewhere like Play It Again Sports or Unique Boutique in Townsend. They sell cleats for like $3. They used bats, used gloves. Don't spend any real money on anything for T-ball or 8U. You're going to replace it in 6 months. So just keep it. Used stuff is perfectly fine, but you do want to try to start getting them to use some of the full set of gear.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Other questions? Sounds like that's about it. Last chance. All right, I'm going to call this a night. Thank you, everybody. We really, really appreciate you all stepping up to volunteer. We know it's a pain in the butt for a lot of this, and we do really appreciate it. Everybody at Tage is a volunteer ourselves, so we get how much of time commitment it can be. So thank you very much, and everybody have a great night. Take care.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.